What is Aperture and how do I use it creatively? Today I'll explain how Aperture works and how you can use it creatively to capture your audience, whether you're a stills photographer or a videographer. First off, welcome back to another video. We have regular video uploads most weeks, so make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to be kept up to date with our future videos. So now that you subscribe to our channel, let's get on with the video. The first question, what does the word photography actually mean? The word photography means drawing with light. So the first bit of the word photo comes from the Greek word for light, and graph comes from the Greek word for drawing. So photography is a process of recording an image by exposing a frame of film or your digital image sensor to light. Next question, what is aperture? Aperture is one of three elements that makes up your exposure triangle, alongside shutter speed and ISO, but we'll cover all of that another day. These three elements all allow you to control how much light is entering your lens. You need a careful balance of all three to get a correctly exposed photograph. So when you shoot in automatic, your camera is working out the balance. If you shoot in manual, you control all three elements. But today we're going to be shooting in aperture priority, so that's the A or the AV mode on your camera's mode dial. We will choose our aperture and we'll let the camera do the rest. Aperture is defined as the opening of the lens or aperture blades, which allows light to pass through the lens onto your camera's film or image sensor. The smaller the hole, the less light is passed through the lens. The larger the hole, the more light is passed through the lens. So the best way to think about it is opening and closing your household curtains. If you were to open your curtains fully, you will let more light into the room, and if you were to close them, you would let less light into the room. So aperture is measured in f-stops, and that's where it can get a bit confusing. The bigger the f number, the smaller the aperture, so small hole, small aperture, not as much light, but big f number like an f16, or big hole, big aperture, lots of light, but a small f number like an f2. If you remember that f number is actually expressed as a fraction, it makes more sense. So a small hole like an f16, think of it as a 1/16 and it makes more sense. A big hole like an f2, think 1/2 or a half. A half is a lot bigger than 1/16. Lenses have different maximum apertures, which you'll see as a number on the front of the lens. For example, this Samyang 35mm lens has a 1.4 maximum aperture. It means that this Samyang has the ability to let in more light. Lenses with bigger apertures need bigger front elements, the glass on the front of the lens, to allow the light through, so they tend to be larger and more expensive. So now you know what aperture is, I will show you how you can use it creatively. Aperture controls two major things within your camera, one being exposure and two being depth of field. Now we've already covered exposure, so let's dive into the depth of field. Depth of field simply means the amount of your image which is in focus. The smaller the aperture, the deeper the depth of field, meaning more of your image will be in focus. This is great for landscape photography where you want to capture the entire scene. The larger the aperture, the shallower the depth of field, which is great for portraits or wildlife photography where you want to isolate your subject from a distracting background and add bokeh or bokeh. So bokeh is a Japanese term for blur. Bokeh is the aesthetic quality of the blur generated in the out of focus sections of your images produced by the shallower depth of field. Photographers aim to make their bokeh as creamy and as smooth as possible to create a pleasing out of focus area with no distractions. It's what your iPhone tries to add in portrait mode using a simulated bokeh effect, which you'll probably notice doesn't often work very well. Now, although shallow depth of field like an f1.4 can result in lovely bokeh, it can also make key features of your images out of focus. For example, if you're capturing some portraits of a model, so you focus on the eyes, then the nose or the mouth might become out of focus because it's such a shallow depth of field. So with that being said, an f2.8 is a nice balance for portrait photography. A lot of landscape photographers shoot with a smaller aperture, which gives them a deeper depth of field. This is so most, if not all, of the shot is in focus, giving them a beautiful, crisp landscape shot. As you can see here, I've captured some portrait images to show how altering the aperture affects the depth of field and why a shallow depth of field is more pleasing in this context. Likewise, here are some landscape images using both a shallow depth of field and a deep depth of field to show the differences between the two and how it can have a creative impact on your images. You can really challenge these styles of shooting if you've got a creative vision in mind or if it better suits the context of your images. So my main advice for anyone who wants to understand how your aperture works in your camera is to take it out and about and test the differences between each f-stop. So I hope this video has helped and you now feel more confident knowing how to control your aperture. If you have any questions about aperture, then ask away in the comment section and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, then please like the video below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos to come. So until next time, I will see you all very soon.